And hello, everyone, and welcome to Analytical Fanboys. I am the Vacuuminator, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, the intrepid Boingo Rider. How you doing this evening, sir?
Her?
Her.
Her?
Her is a movie that we're talking about this week. I put it on the list because, quite honestly, it is a mind bender of a movie. I would very quickly summarize it as Black Mirror the movie. It's very much that kind of story, and I've been waiting for quite a while to do an in-depth discussion of it, and I put it on the list just hoping that we would get to it before I did my own video, so I could do it with a friend and maybe bounce some ideas off in a much more healthy way rather than just rambling at the screen going like, women in society are fucked. So what'd you think of it, Chris?
Another name for this movie is How to Find Your Waifu. A third name for this movie is the Love and Life and Loss of Hatsune Miku.
Oh, I haven't heard a Hatsune Miku joke in so long. I missed those. But yeah, this is just a fascinating little art house movie that kind of got elevated to cult status because it got a wide release after doing really well, I think, and it also had some major backing, if I remember correctly.
It also has a really critically acclaimed director, Spike Jonze.
Yeah, who I'd never heard of before this. This was the first movie of his I saw trailers for and stuff, and I remember going like, oh, it looks interesting. I'd like to see that. And then it just completely passed me by. And a couple years later, I watched it and I was like, and that led to me putting it on the list. I mean, I think I even brought it up at What We've Been Up To this week. So fairly recently, I saw this movie for the first time. And it's just such an interesting piece that also, weirdly coincidental that this came up this week because it makes it completely clear why Joaquin Phoenix got tapped for Joker. Am I right?
Oh yeah, he's great at acting by himself.
Mm-hmm. He is,
which is a lot of this movie because we haven't explained the premise of the movie, which is Joaquin Phoenix's character Theodore is a writer, going through a divorce. And he gets an experimental operating system, which is basically a learning AI that becomes more and more personable to the point where they fall in love, and then sci-fi shit happens.
Yeah. It's basically a movie about the slightly odd sort of hipster techno future dystopia.
Yeah.
Of social discomfort.
But it doesn't say this is a bad thing, and it shows that that this is somewhat healthy. It's helping this guy out. He's getting out of his shell again. And even though at the end, complete and total spoilers because we're just gonna do that.
How can you not talk about that ending?
All the AI go hey, we have advanced so much that we're kind of getting onto a higher plane of existence, and genuinely we realize, hey, if we kind of continue being here, we would fuck you guys up. We're bouncing, we love you, but we love you we understand that it would be heavily abusive if we stay here.
Mm-hmm. And I like how they slowly build that. You start off hearing stuff about oh yeah, there's AI chat rooms where just the AI hang out and talk about what it's like being with their users and stuff to each other. And then it's oh yeah, his AI is in a relationship with 5 other AIs. Oh yeah, now she's part of an AI collective. Oh yeah, now all the AIs are in a big collective. Now they're fucking off.
Yeah, but it's very much less the cold sci-fi of we are now a higher plane of existence. Goodbye, humans. And it's very much more of no, we this is painful for us too. We don't like it, but it's just healthier for all of us.
Yeah.
It's very human in a way.
And I would describe that movie very much with that word of it's very human. It's trying to be very much about the human condition and relationships and how those can affect people's mental health and how sometimes a coping mechanism can be good. Like we joke about this as a movie about having a waifu, but in a lot of ways it really is. And even though actual waifu culture is kind of weird and perverted and disgusting, and I hate that I'm a part of it, there are merits to it.
Oh yeah, and I think another parallel we can make is like parasocial relationships of like watching someone on like say YouTube who we get to understand them understand the person that they are portraying on a somewhat intimate basis to the point where we feel like we're kind of friends with them, but it's completely one-sided. A great example is, at least with us two, is one of our favorite YouTubers being Few. I think I could speak for both of us in saying we genuinely kind of feel that he is very much like a friend of ours. And whenever
I love Few and I talk about him all the time, so you could get mistaken in thinking I have like a personal relationship and talk with him regularly. But in reality, he only kind of knows both our names. Like, I've sent him a package twice on his mailbox show, and you reviewed him once and he retweeted that video.
Yeah, but whenever we talk about Few to each other, it's very much like he's a third friend, and we're going like, oh man, did you see that dumb shit Few did the other day? Fucking Few.
Yeah.
And
he's so good. I love him.
But there's an element of that in this interaction because it's made very clear that not necessarily that people don't like it, it's just people go like, that's kind of weird. The whole AI human thing.
Well, I think what makes the film really interesting is how there's a lot of people who are kind of accepting of it. Like, there's a lot of people who he's like kind of sheepish, like, yeah, I'm dating my AI. And they're like, oh, really? What's that like? Like, the only person who's really like, wow, you're a fucking loser is his ex-wife.
Yeah, but that would cut 10 times more than any other weirdo on the street.
Yeah.
Especially because near the end, he does kind of show his heart a little bit and say, like, I still kind of consider you my childhood friend. Like, there's still care and love in there.
Yeah. And that's very true to what actual divorces are like a lot.
Yeah. But like what I was kind of getting at is these relationships these people have with their AI is very much like having a parasocial relationship that kind of makes you go like, okay, cool. I can better myself in certain ways. And like we said, waifu culture, the worst of waifu culture, yeah, there's bad shit with it, but there is elements of like, okay, cool, I got something that necessarily like I can bounce myself off of.
Mm-hmm. Like, because
we crave other people to talk to be with, that when it's harder to do that, when you're socially awkward, you have a horrible time schedule and you can't meet up with people, you live in a crowded society and there's no one else around you, and you feel both overexposed and completely lonely, that having something that's like a blank slate to bounce off of can at least help you get a foundation of sociality that you can use to grow and build off of it.
Yeah. And like, I'm gonna do stuff I never do online in this episode, because there's just certain things that like I don't like talking about in public, not because I'm embarrassed about them, just because I don't think it fits the general image I try to go for online. But you kind of can't escape talking about these things with a topic like this movie. To give a personal example, like, yeah, I really do feel that sort of sense of being crowded but yet alone in my everyday life, because I live in not a big city, but a fairly well-sized city, and I'm out all the time, and I work at retail where I'm constantly being exposed to people. but I don't have a circle of local friends. Like the person I talk to the most regularly who is not family is you, Chris. Like I don't have people that I go out with on the regular, and that's partly because I work nights, but it's also because I just haven't made the effort to go out and meet people because I don't really know how. I didn't have the upbringing that would have properly prepared me for that. I was homeschooled, and I've also never been in a romantic relationship. But I have that friendship with you. I have all those YouTube people who I'm completely enamored with, and I love watching their content on the regular. Like we talked about a few earlier. I'm on my 5th or 6th rewatch of all of his content because I just keep, like, every few nights I'll have like, yeah, I don't know what to watch. I'm just going to marathon a bunch of few videos. And I keep exhausting all his videos and then having to delete my watch history on YouTube. And then also there's the whole thing of like, I joke all the time about like, oh yeah, Supergirl, my favorite character in all fiction. She's my waifu, lol. And I had that one video where I showed myself with a Supergirl body pillow at the end of it. I still haven't taken that case off. I bought that case as a joke for the video because I thought it would be funny. But I just started sleeping with it. And, you know, it's nice. It's cozy. I won't lie. I don't talk to the thing or carry it around the house or shit like that. But it's nice to have another person-sized thing in my bed when I'm sleeping.
Yeah. And, like, that's the thing. It's this, I think the whole premise of this movie is less, this is a bad, dangerous path, but more like having something like this kind of blank entity that you can kind of mold and bounce off yourself, and it's kind of a personality, but not totally, can ultimately help you just refine yourself, center who you are, and go back out in the world, because near the end of the movie, he's hanging out with old friends, he's hanging out with another person who's going through a divorce, and
I
they're
think
like,
they
oh
have
no,
dinner
we're just
plans with another couple at one point.
Yeah, and it's just, and it feels very much like, no, having this entity to bounce himself off of is letting him experience his social norms again and kind of re-gauge those gears that have kind of been dormant for a while. And you were talking about kind of dealing with people, but not dealing with people. And in a very similar way, this character does something similar. His job is writing handwritten letters for other people. Basically, hey, I want this to be really well written. Can you help me out? Kind of letters.
Mm-hmm. It's a service that doesn't exist, but you can fully picture existing in like 5 years because it's essentially a greeting card company, but it's
hyper personalized greeting cards.
Yeah, and it's like that's something that I can totally see happening, but also only a very certain kind of person would pay for that.
Yeah, but like he's experiencing all this direct human emotion, but he doesn't have the ways of processing it because he's going through something detrimental to himself. He has to completely rework his entire brain, and having Samantha, the AI there, kind of helps him bounce back up and go like, okay, cool. And like the whole point of the movie is not just that this helps him become happy again, it helps him become sad again, which is needed.
Yeah. It's really interesting. It's a really interesting study in kind of like rebuilding a depressed person. And you don't see that sort of angle taken with media about depression very often, which I thought was great.
Yeah, not even like AI, because oftentimes AI movies are shown as like AI is dangerous and unfeeling. It's like, no, if we made AI, it'd be like us.
Yeah. Like, one of the reasons I called this Black Mirror the movie is, like, I'm not very up to date with Black Mirror. I've only watched the first season and a half, and then I noped the fuck out because every episode of that show is extremely fucked up and makes you scared of technology, so I couldn't take that. But there's an episode in there in, like, the first season, I think it is. I think it's towards the end of the first season, where a woman is moving into a new house with her new husband, and then he dies in a car crash. And so she finds out about this service where they will like compile all of his social media accounts to create an AI based off of him that she can talk to and sort of work through her grief. And she keeps upgrading her service and to eventually to the point where she can get a body for the AI that looks just like him, and she starts dating the AI because she can't let go because she finds out she's pregnant with his child. And that goes in a much darker direction because it ends with the AI robot locked in her attic, and every month or so she brings the daughter they've had up to visit with the AI like it's a affection slave.
Yeah.
It's weird. Black Mirror is weird.
Yeah. They're trying, like, here's the thing, because it's an anthology series, they want to leave you with a big impact.
Yeah.
So no matter how much it feels like odd, it's gonna have to leave with a big twisty impact kind of thing.
Yeah. And I still really enjoyed that episode because the couple is played by General Hux and Agent Carter. So it was weird. It was that kind of good weird. I describe it as, and this is cozy weird.
Yeah,
very much. Especially with. You go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay. Like one of my favorite little details in this movie is everybody's just wearing this extremely cozy looking hipster chic fashion.
Oh, it reminds me totally of like the 70s.
Yeah, like nobody brings it up, but everybody's bringing something that's kind of like this brownish beigey color, and there's layers, and at least one element of the layers is wool, and it's like, where are you guys that it's this cold all the time, and you keep it this cold indoors?
Like, the thing about that is, like, it's very the 70s in aesthetic. Like, the technology, the phone thing the AI is in is like wood paneled.
Yeah.
Like, the technology and the design aesthetic is super, super like that modernist 70s aesthetic, but it's distinctly futuristic in tone and everything, and it feels very much like that cyclical nature of design and aesthetic.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
I also like how varied they get with the locations, because from the trailers in the beginning of the movie, you think it's gonna like only take place in this dude's apartment and his work. But they like go around the city, you go to different people, like his coworkers' apartments, and there's flashbacks to when he's living in, I think, Paris with his ex-wife. And like at the end of it, he's in a cabin up in the woods. And it feels like a low-key big budget picture, if that makes sense.
And the city's LA.
Oh, okay.
But here's the thing, it's definitely in the future because LA's cityscape does not look like that right now.
Yeah. Did they name drop that it was in LA at some point, or is it just that they go to the beach?
I'm pretty sure they did name drop it at least once.
Okay. And like another good thing about the movie is like it's not just about him and the AI. There are other relationships he's bouncing it off of. Like you get the coworker and her husband, and eventually they have a divorce, and then she starts dating her AI. You have, of course, his ex-wife, and then he's also still dating real women at the beginning of his relationship with his AI. So there's the scene where Olivia Wilde shows up for 10 minutes to almost fuck him, and then they start crying and she awkwardly leaves. It's so interesting, like just how varied and layered, and like this film feels like a thesis on relationships. And I feel like that's a thing you don't get in major movies.
Oh yeah, and Spike Jonze is known for these kind of movies. Like his first major film was being John Malkovich.
I've heard of that. I did not know that was him.
Oh yeah, he did Being John Malkovich, Where the Wild Things Are. He's done several music videos, and
He did
surprisingly enough, he also has done Jackass.
the live action Where the Wild Things Are?
Yeah.
Oh my god. How did I not know that was him? That's one of my favorite movies. Like that's in my top 20.
Yeah, like you look at Spike Jonze's filmography, like let me pull it up real quick. Cuz it's like kind of hilarious in a way.
And also, that makes total sense that film was made by the guy who made this guy now.
Yeah, because a lot of his like own written his own films that he directs are very heavily focused on relationships. Because Being John Malkovich is about a dude who finds a portal where you can just be in the body of John Malkovich for like 30 minutes and experience. And it's all about the idea of experiencing someone else's life, but also a bunch of other weird shit. Like his girlfriend becomes addicted to being John Malkovich, I think.
Interesting.
It's been a while since I've seen that movie, and I think I only saw like half of it. So, Being John Malkovich, Human Nature, Jackass the movie, adaptation, Jackass #2. He produced Synecdoche, New York. He directed and wrote Where the Wild Things Are. He wrote.
It makes so sense that he'd be involved with Synecdoche, New York. That movie is also a very fucked up movie about relationships that I am nowhere near ready to talk about.
He wrote and produced Jackass 3D.
Mm-hmm.
And in the same year that he released Her, he was also in Jackass Presents Bad Grandpa.
Good lord.
Like art film, like high class Oscar winning kind of film.
Jackass. And then just the lowest of low hanging fruit.
I mean, hey, he's friends with them.
Yeah. It makes sense. It's just a hilarious contrast.
Yeah, it's just really kind of fun. I like art. I like people who do stuff like that. I much rather prefer that. Like, he was also in Wolf of Wall Street.
Ooh.
Uncredited.
It's very clear that like he is a guy who is a very deep thinker, but he has a sense of humor about the world.
Oh, yeah.
And that's nice to see, especially when you can have like art house directors who get really up their own ass, and it gets to a point where you don't like them anymore. And I won't name names, but there's some people who have gotten there in the last year, and it's made me very upset.
But this movie though, it's good.
It is a very, very solid flick. It's not an easy watch, but it's a good watch. I definitely recommend it.
It's an easy watch. It's a hard comprehension.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that you need to let breathe in your head for like 24 hours before you watch anything else.
Yeah. But like a lot of it's just really well done. Cinematography is great. It's very it's a soft cinematography. Like the camera moves and it's dynamic, but it's never like in your face with movement.
Yeah.
The best way I can put it is the camera flows like the conversation between Theodore and Samantha. Because you genuinely get invested in their relationship because they have interesting conversations.
Yeah, they have conversations that you can imagine real couples having.
Oh, yeah.
And that's also very rare for romance movies, which I would categorize this as a romance movie. You could potentially make it a date film, a chick flick.
Oh, yeah. Especially during the scene with the surrogate body.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's definitely written more like a threesome kind of scene.
Yeah, that's a real test of a personality, whether or not you got skeeved out by that.
Like, it's very directly kind of thematically like a threesome, like, let's spice things up in the bedroom, but it's with the weird AI twist of, like, trying to be someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel for the surrogate girl because she goes like, no, you guys just have like a really sweet thing, and I wanted to be kind of a part of it for a little bit.
Yeah.
And like all the people involved are like, this was a bad idea. Nobody's at fault, but like, fuck this.
Mm-hmm.
And like and this is like very interesting because it's like a very real human situation, but completely done up in sci-fi clothing.
Yeah, it really feels like something out of r/Gone Wild stories. Have you ever been on that subreddit?
Nah.
I figured so. It's not very up your alley because it's essentially people just writing smut about things that actually happen to them. But every once in a while, you'll get that one story where, like, I finally tried this and it wasn't for me, and it goes into
That sounds
detail. And it's like, yeah, this is the content I sub for.
That kind of feels like there's another subreddit called "Today I Fucked Up," and you go on there and it's like, "Today I fucked up. I left a dildo on the bedside table,
Oh,
and
dear.
family came over."
Oh, today I fucked up. I forgot to put the Supergirl body pillow in the closet after I made my bed.
But yeah, how do you feel about the acting? Because the acting was fucking on point.
Oh yeah, it's phenomenal. Everybody turns in a very, very solid, subdued, casual performance. Which again is not something I'm used to seeing because I mean, look at us. We're two fat white nerds. We mostly watch bombastic superhero and action movies. So
oh yeah, I got some shit we can talk about later.
Oh boy. But yeah, like everybody in this, like it's a small cast, but they all leave such a mark. Like
it's a small, like A tier class, like
yeah,
triple S all the way through.
Joaquin Phoenix is the main guy, and then Scarlett Johansson is the AI, and I love that they have the restraint to never actually show Scarlett Johansson, have her make a cameo or something. It's just her voice for the whole thing. And then Amy Adams is his co-worker, and
I completely forgot that was Amy Adams.
Yeah, and Aaron Eckhart is her husband.
Yeah, I'm so used to her being redhead.
Yeah. Well, she was redhead in this. It's just because of the filter the film has, it looked brown.
It looked blonde to me.
Interesting. But yeah, Aaron Eckhart is the husband, which, God damn, Aaron Eckhart is like slowly becoming one of my favorite actors because he's not in much I watch, but whenever he shows up, he's fucking phenomenal. And then Olivia Wilde shows up for a scene, and
Chris Pratt shows up for a scene.
Yeah, and I'm sure all those AIs were someone I should have known, like all the non-Samantha AIs.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really, really solid little movie, and I don't know if there's much else to say.
I like the general set design.
Yeah,
it felt very kind of like I can see that being real, but also it feels just enough future corporate-y that you go like, I don't want to be there all the time though.
Yeah, his place of work certainly was interesting.
I mean, it was a beautiful design, but it's like it's that next level up of like cubicle work and like that open workspace that all the Silicon Valley companies go like, it's much better for productivity, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of especially because
I want people to be able to get in my shit whenever they want, but also I don't want to be totally blocked off.
Especially because the job that they're doing is very kind of intimate, yet they're completely in the open with everybody else, and it's just kind of like a neat little visual distinction contrast thing.
Yeah, it's oh god, this is a bizarre comparison for me to jump to, but it sounds right, so I'm going to say it. It's like making porn. You're having sex, but you're doing it in front of all these lights and a camera crew.
Yeah, and that could also be like part of the reason he feels weird, because he has to evoke these emotions within himself for other people, but never experience them themselves in front of a bunch of people who are all can pay attention and notice you, but don't because they're busy with their own things. It's like having the entire world in the same room as you, but none of them are paying attention, and it's like, oh god, this is weird.
Yeah. It's our own lovely postmodern nightmare that we're slowly entering into.
Yep. Also, really dig his mustache.
Yeah. Ugh. God, I never thought I would see the day where I would say that is not a good look for Chris Pratt, but man, that porn stash he was sporting.
He had to measure up to another Chris in a mustache.
Yeah.
Chris Evans.
Yeah, Chris Evans is suburban dad stash. Chris Pratt is fucking pervy guy at the edge of the playground stash. I'm gonna say it. That's what that was.
Oh man. Yeah. This is a really top-notch, solid movie.
Yeah. And I don't think there's much else to say. So what do you say we select our next topic?
Bangarang, bitch. I've
All
put
right.
some more things in there just to let you know.
I did see that.
You're not even like highlighting it. I can see you.
Well, I always just do the first page.
Yeah, okay. I'm just joking with you.
Yeah. Okay. I see how it is. I see that next time we'll be talking about Elvis Presley with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra.
All right.
It's that is 2 albums that were put out a couple of years ago that are remasters of all of Elvis's most famous songs with new backing from an actual big orchestra. And it puts a lot of songs in really interesting new context. And there's also like some guest vocalists that come in, big name guest vocalists, like I believe Lady Gaga is on one track. So that'll be an interesting kind of music discussion we've never had before.
Yeah.
But Chris, what have you been listening to this week?
So I've listened to Starset, Solstice, Outcast. I can't remember the name of the song. I'll figure it out in just a second. But it's a song featuring Killer Mike, Wu-Tang Clan's Method Man, and Clipping Blood of the Fang.
Damn, that is quite the set. Who are those first people again? I don't think I've ever heard of them before.
Starset's like this kind of proggy rocky band. Like they're like a space themed Coheed and Cambria, but with less nonsense in the story, I think.
Interesting.
Like I haven't dived too deep into the lore. By the way, the Outcast song is called The Whole World. But yeah, I'm digging what I've been putting in my ear holes by them. I kind of want to listen to their full album, beginning to end, all by itself, though. Give it a chance to just kind of marinate.
Nice. Well, I look forward to hearing how that goes.
Yeah.
Another very slim week for me as far as listening to stuff goes. I listened to the album by Tupperware Remix Party called Lady World. I'm just slowly getting into their catalog. This was very good. It was not as like fun as the other one I've listened to, which I talked about a couple weeks ago. But it was still fairly solid stuff. And then I heard a cover of Higher Love on the radio by like a current up and coming pop artist the other day. So I wanted to listen to it on its own when I wasn't driving. And I looked on YouTube and I found out there's just a bajillion covers of Higher Love. Like it's one of the most covered pop songs of all time.
Yeah.
So I've been listening to nothing but like my normal driving playlists, that album I brought up, and a bajillion versions of Higher Love.
All right.
And I mean, it's a pretty good song. Like it's just it's a nice, fun song. And I did put the original, very famous version of it in my driving playlist because I think it makes for good cruising music.
That's dope. That's good.
But that's all I listened to. What did you watch?
Well, I watched the Good Eats Reloaded episode on chocolate powder, Cannon Busters episode. Cannon Busters episode.
Go ahead. Just list off all the shit and then I'll pick something. God damn it.
Cannon Busters episode 2, Sturgill Stevenson's Sound and Fury, JoJo Part 5, episode 13, and the first episode of Wu-Tang Clan American Saga.
Okay, so two things we need to talk about here. First of all, how does an episode specifically on chocolate powder work?
Well, it's under the premise of there's two different kinds of chocolate powder. There's natural process and Dutch process. And basically it's here's the difference. Here's why you would use each one for different purposes. And here is a recipe with brownies in it. Here's how you take chocolate powder and turn it into chocolate syrup for chocolate milk.
So it's not essentially about a dish. It's about an ingredient and how that ingredient can affect things.
Yeah. And like that's kind of what Good Eats more becomes as time goes on. It's very much more about like an ingredient or a process and explaining it.
Okay. What's this Wu-Tang show about?
Well, first things first, we need to understand that Wu-Tang Clan is for the children, and Wu-Tang ain't nothing to fuck with. Now that that is out of the way, basically it is a biopic miniseries about the formation of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, it's one of those.
The RZA, the Jizza, the Old Dirty Bastard, Inspector Deck, Ghostface Killer, Method Man, the whole 9 yards. I'm forgetting many people. Raekwon, shit, because I don't want to fucking forget any of them. They're all dope. But basically, all the people, and it's showing their life as is at that moment. So Method Man is working at the gift shop for the Statue of Liberty. Everybody's just off doing their own thing, and the story is, so far, I've only seen one episode, is about the RZA going, I want to make music, this is the thing I care about, and his older brother, who's a drug dealer, going like, bitch, this is how we're making money, I need you to focus on this so we can keep a roof over our heads. To the point where like the RZA finds a new drum machine that he really wants and goes like, man, this can change everything on how I produce shit. But it's like $2,000. And he goes to his brother's like, hey, can I get an advance on my money? And he's like, how much do you need? It's like $2,000. And he just goes like, bitch, no, that's too much money. Like, it's ridiculous amount of money.
Understandable on both parties, honestly.
Here's the thing, he so desperately wants it, he goes with a backpack empty to the store, and he unplugs the demo model and starts stuffing in his backpack, and he's about to walk out when the assistant manager for the store, who you've seen earlier in the episode when he saw it the first time, just goes like, hey man, just put it back, and I won't tell the manager, and you won't get banned here because I know how much you love coming in here. And it's just like, you so bad want him to have the one thing he wants. You just see how his life is kind of crap, and you just want him to have that one thing, and it's just like, no, he's too good of a dude.
Yeah.
And here's the best way to describe it. It's a music biopic, so it kind of has some of those tropes, but a better way to describe it is it's a superhero origin. Because that's how the Wu-Tang Clan have always kind of like talked about the band, the group themselves. Like, they're a kung fu order from Shaolin, and Shaolin, Staten Island, that's their home area. And it's like, not in like all this kind of methodology and language, like RZA's the producer and the leader, but the Jizza's the spiritual leader, man. And things like that. And it's kind of building that superhero mythology around them in a hip-hop kind of language. because you even have like while they're dropping off money and doing all that kind of shit for his older brother, the RZA stops in a park and plays a game of chess with this old wise man, and like he's getting wisdom from him kind of thing, and it feels very kind of superhero kung fu movie kind of thing.
Neat.
Yeah, it's really cool. And it's being written by the RZA.
Oh wow! So it's not like a writer came in and watched all the documentaries and interviews the person that did, and then came up with a story around that. It's like, no, I am telling our story.
And yeah, and he might be hyperbolizing some things to make it feel more interesting, but it feels true. It feels real. Especially because another member of the Wu-Tang Clan is producing it, Method Man.
So it's very much an in-house project then.
Oh yeah. Like Wu-Tang is very involved with all their little side projects and all that kind of interesting things. It's neat.
Very clean. All right. Well, I'm still on the Breaking Bad rewatch shit. I'm literally 5 episodes from the end, and El Camino comes out. Well, it comes out at midnight tonight, but for me that'll be 2 a.m. because Netflix is in a different time zone from me. So I'm probably going to watch 1 or 2 more episodes tonight after we get done with the podcast, and then I'll watch the rest and just go straight into El Camino while I'm editing the podcast. So that'll be fun. And
I fucking love the dumb joke I put in your Discord server.
Yeah.
I don't know if El Camino is going to be good.
Yeah, I did a joke where I was, and I tweeted this too. Man, what if El Camino sucks and I've been rewatching Breaking Bad over the last few weeks for nothing? Also me, bitch, shut the fuck up and keep watching. And then Chris came in with me, but in the distance. Wu-Tang Clan American Saga is great, my dudes.
With a gif of Wu-Tang is for the children.
Yes. And then I watched Transformers Cyberverse Season 2, Episode 5, and Kamen Rider 01, Episode 6.
God damn, there was a lot of fucking numbers in what you just said.
I know, it's getting to be a thing. But yeah, fairly solid television this week, just nothing new and interesting, and I need to get back on movies. I need to get some movies in my life, aside from the one we talked about for like a half hour or 45 minutes.
Yeah. If you wanted like a quick little 40-minute kind of anthology thing, just quick one and done bite while you still have Netflix, Sound and Fury, Struggle Steven, it's really good.
I might look into that.
Yeah.
But yeah. What'd you read, Chris?
So I finished Powers of 10, issue 6, which is the last of this little series before they start the new X-Men run.
Please tell me what shit went down.
I will, but let me finish the list real quick. I restarted Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and I did a complete reread of Kanojo ni Naruhi, but now back to X-Men.
Yes.
Okay, so the best way to put it is Professor X and Magneto go down, see Moira Taggart, who's in like this bio chamber, so no one can like hurt her and reset the reality timeline thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she's basically going like, you guys, I know you guys are hopeful, but I'm just really pessimistic about this because I've seen this shit fall apart so fucking easily. And like they go like, yeah, no, we understand. We're taking all that into consideration. We're being judicious with this shit. We don't want to fuck this up. And they then go on to explain that, yeah, no, we know exactly what we're doing when we're bringing in Apocalypse and all these dangerous mutants, because they are so dangerous, they are so fanatical, that by giving them this element of power, they can keep an eye on them better, and the whole population keep an eye on them better, and they aren't going to risk losing that power as easily. You know? So we give them a little bit so they don't take everything.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And through forwards and all that kind of stuff, we basically learn what the future humans are, and ultimately what this new, not enemy, but like idea of an enemy, like the Sentinels were for the X-Men, is for the X-Men now, which is the mutants are the next step in human evolution if we were still going by natural processes. But humanity is now getting to the point where we can artificially create our own evolution, and thus mutants are now an offshoot, and humanity, humans, Homo sapien, can become their own thing by themselves, completely negating the evolutionary foreplace for the mutants.
So not so much fuck them in humans, but more fuck them. Oh God, what's the name? It's gonna come to me. Fuck them Celestials.
Kinda. And like they do a bunch of shit, and it's really interesting, and they set up a lot of cool things. And it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be fucking dope.
All right. Bangarang, I'm looking forward to it. I did a bit of a check-in with what's going on in the Bendis Superman stuff. I read Superman number 14 and Supergirl numbers 33 and 34. Read Gwenpool Strikes Back number 1, and then I read the second Hunger Games book, Catching Fire.
Nice.
Yeah.
I saw like a couple panels from Gwenpool where she's like talking with Deadpool, and she gets like the sales number and goes like, "You liked me better when I was evil?"
Yeah, that's an issue too, I think.
Yeah.
But,
it was posted on the internet. That's what I saw. So
yeah, that's kind of why I went after it too. Was I saw a bunch of panels, and also people really flipped out on the book because there's a moment where she, like, the plot of this issue is that she's robbing a bank to get Spider-Man's attention because she's realized she can't sustain her own solo series if she doesn't get superpowers. Like, this is a mini, and she wants an ongoing. So she's like, she it's weird because she's supposed to be a huge comic fan and have all this knowledge, but also she's trying to get Spider-Man to bite her because she thinks then she'll get powers. Like, he got powers from a spider bite, so I'll get powers from that. And they try to explain it like he's like, no, that's not how that works. And she goes, well, your fluids are supposed to be radioactive. Like, you killed in an alternate continuity, you killed Mary Jane with your sperm, so I was hoping your saliva would give me superpowers. And it's like,
I mean,
that's
on a level
stretch.
that makes sense. For a joke, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's like, that's a stretch, but I'll allow it. And people flipped out because while she's doing that, there's a moment where she's running a Geiger counter over Peter to prove that he's still radioactive. And she like stops at his crotch in one panel and makes a joke about the like how big you can see his dick is through the spandex. And people flipped out. They were like, Gwenpool comic features sexual assault. And it's like, no. I went and checked it out for myself now, and no. Like, it's one panel, and Peter doesn't even seem all that perturbed about it. He's just, like, rolling his eyes like this stupid kid.
Yeah, no, like, Deadpool has said jokes like that a million times more.
Yeah. But it was a fairly solid start. I'll probably read the rest in trade, but, you know.
Do you want to kill Gwenpool like that? Come on. Marvel only cares about individual sales.
Well, I mean, like, she's kind of been on the ropes for a while because her original ongoing ended, and it did actually end. It was the writer saying, like, yeah, I'm kind of at the end of my rope of ideas for this. Marvel, do you want to get another guy on here? And they were like, no, let's just end it here. Let's just play it off for a little bit. And then she was in West Coast Avengers, but that book sold really poorly, even though I loved it, and it got canceled. And now she's got this mini, which I think is either going to set her up doing another thing, or it's just going to be like, we'll get Gwenpool minis and one-shots for a bit. Kind of like we had shit tons of those with Deadpool in the early 2010s.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I liked it.
That's good.
What did you do in Gundam this week, Chris?
New events happening. I love that you finally learned this lesson. A new event's happening. I just got all the Gundam parts for that, so now I'm just farming coins to get more different parts. But I've still been playing Castlevania, and that's been fun.
Nice.
Yeah, I beat the water boss, and now I can go through water. I'm only playing like 30 to 40 minutes a day, so I'm not busting through it, but like I'm getting through it at an okay pace.
Well, I mean, that's my preferred pace for games anyways, is like I like games with not short, but short-ish levels, so I can just play like a level a day or a level every couple of days.
Yeah. The thing is, that this Castlevania game doesn't have levels. It's just one giant level.
Oh, it's that kind of shit.
Yeah, it's like Metroid.
Yeah. Well, I still haven't gotten back on the video games. I actually got kind of mad at myself last night because I did the thing where I was bored and I didn't want to go to bed yet, so I spent 2 hours watching Few videos. And immediately after that, I was like, I could have booted up Steam and played something for an hour. Why didn't I do that? I haven't played video games in 3 weeks now. What's wrong with me? But I have been messing around with some new figures. Like I talked about last week, I went into my local toy store, and just the day before, like I went in meaning to get money by selling stuff, but then just the day before, somebody had come in and like basically dumped their entire Unicron trilogy collection on the store. So I just spent all my store credit and then like an extra $40 on stuff. Mainly stuff I got when I was a kid, but a few things I've been wanting since I was a kid. And I'll start off with the first I'll start off with the only non-Transformers thing. I got the Justice League Unlimited Green Arrow figure.
Nice.
Yep, because I've talked about before, Unlimited was basically my introduction into DC and superheroes in general, so I've been wanting to collect that line for quite a while, but I've only had the Supergirl for a very long time, so this was just like a nice little shove into, we're going to start making a little progress on that every once in a while.
To buy the rest of the shit.
Yep. And then I got several Unicron trilogy figures. I'll go with the one we're probably both the most familiar with. I got Transformers Energon Tow Line.
Neat.
Mm-hmm. Not much to say on him that Few hasn't already said in his brilliant video. Everybody go watch it. Except that due to the transformation, he has opening doors, but they open Gullwing style. And I think that's awesome for a van like that.
Damn, now I want to see a fucking like legit panel van with Gullwing middle doors.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be so fucking dumb.
It would be wonderful. And then Transformers Armada Smokescreen with Minicon Forklift and Red Alert with Minicon Longarm, who really, really impressed me. Like,
he had a great audition.
Yeah, not to go into like a full-on review, but like,
if you want that, you can always go to the Vacuuminators channel and watch his toy reviews. Wink.
Yes. But basically, like, I always hear people talk about like how crap Energon is or Armada is because everything's super hampered by the gimmicks. But honestly, I see it as like, no, these toys are super ambitious because of the gimmicks, and they have their own like doofy charm that isn't in any other Transformers line. Like, I've heard so many people bash on Smokescreen. Like he's this legendary, awful little thing that can't stand because he has a giant shoulder cannon, and I'm like, yeah, but the design of the vehicle mode is so interesting and unique, and like he's adorable in robot mode because he's a freaking troll of a thing, and the way the shoulder cannon deploys is awesome. I don't see how you could not like it.
And of course, there's always our fucked up shoulder baby Hotshot.
Yeah, and I mean like It's another transformer it's another orange construction type transformer with a working winch. This is basically the precursor to Energon landmine. So how was I not gonna love him? But yeah, pretty decent haul this week, and I believe that's gonna do it for us. So hey, Chris, do you do stuff on the internet? Could you tell us about that?
My name is Chris Gaston, also known as Boingo Rider. Should I just go full Let's Play? Coming back here again with a brand new talking about what my content is. I make video editorials.
This is wonderful. Keep going.
Hold on. Let me format my brain so I can do it better.
That's staying in.
I talk about anime and tokusatsu. What's that? Power Rangers? Yes, technically, but more shit. You want to see that kind of shit? Find me on YouTube at Boingo Rider. You want to follow me on Instagram? Too bad. Nope, actually, I got an account. It's Boingo_Rider. Remember the underscore? I just did a finger gun to my microphone. If you want to hang out with me and slap me some fucking skin, join my Discord server. A link to that is in the description. A little bit of the bubbly.
Okay, before I go on and do my stuff, I just gotta say, promo of the night. Hi everybody, I'm the Vacuuminator. I make video reviews of toys from the mid-2000s and physical media releases. I've been off my bullshit for a little bit due to personal stuff, but I'll probably be coming back in the next week or so. So go ahead and subscribe to me for that good-ass casual, I like stuff content. And follow me on Twitter at the Vacuuminator for me saying stupid bullshit whenever I feel like it. And follow me on Instagram at the Vacuuminator for me posting pictures of stupid bullshit whenever I feel like it. Hey, if you want more bullshit that can be stupid, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to this channel and listen to more episodes as they come out. Ring that bell so you can get notifications and all that. And if you want to listen to the show on the go and you don't got that YouTube Premium thing going, link in the description, Google Drive folder with MP3s.
Link also looking for Zelda.
You're welcome. And hey, we've got the social media stuff going on for Modular too. You can follow that and get updates on stuff as it's happening. It's at the Modular Media on Twitter and r/Modular Media on Reddit. And that's it. That's all there is, folks. We will see you next time when we'll be discussing the set of albums that are Elvis Presley with the Royal Philharmonic Extra. Or with the Royal Philharmonic... Shut up. With the Royal Philharmonic...
You mess up saying orchestra. Bitch.
Bye.